All right, there we go. Trevor, very, very nice to meet you today, and thank you for allowing me to record this portion of our interview. So I have enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, but I have talked a lot. So now I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell me a little bit about your current role and your experience.
Yeah, thanks so much. So again, my name is Trevor Ragno. Education-wise, my background, a degree from Florida State University in business management and real estate, and got my master's of real estate development from Clemson. I'm a certified general contractor, and I've worked with several tech startups. The one that I've been working with the past half decade is OppiScore, an amazing company that 3D prints buildings, but a tech startup that does operate here in the Space Coast in Florida. I live in Central Florida, so it's a commute that I'm very well used to. But, it's something that I've enjoyed, but I really have had, my biggest strengths have been in really developing properties, developing residential and commercial properties, generally mid-market to high-end properties. I've done, office, self-storage, done some apartment development. Actually, the image that's my background right now was we 3D printed the largest 3D printed building on Earth. It's a multi-story government office building in Dubai. So we've had some really amazing projects. My role in these, I'm the director of construction and building technologies. I wear a lot of hats. I'm responsible for getting permits. I'm responsible for coordinating with really everybody from trades to architects, engineers. And really getting a project from initial concept to close out and occupancy. So there's a lot of client-facing relationships, and then there's a lot of subcontractor-facing relationships. Those are very different personalities, and you need to be able to manage them and really organize everything. I mean, that's critical. If you are dropping tasks that may seem small, they can really snowball and compound into things that just require very good project scheduling, very good budgeting. I'm Argus certified. I spend a lot of time. My schedule is broken out in 15-minute increments. So if I'm using the restroom, it is on a schedule. So it's that's a little bit about me. Yeah.
All right. Well, gosh, I was just looking at my list of my questions, and you included almost a little piece of every question that I had. I think the only thing, and I was trying to take notes too when you were talking, did you talk about financial? Do you have financial responsibilities?
Absolutely. So, that's ranged from everything from investor relations, actually raising money from projects, also definitely construction project budgets. I can work in like uniformat costs, master format costs, blue beam estimation, everything also through pro formas, waterfall cash flows. There's a lot that goes on the financial side, but also, painting that picture in a very clear and summarized way. So taking those more complex financials and seeing, okay, well, how is this very, very clearly communicated to either a client, or if you're looking as a developer, you have your bank, you have your investors, you have your mezz debt, and how everything flows through the project, and how those contingencies work, and what the market forces are that are really backing up the numbers that you're putting forth. I spend a lot of time in Excel, and I'm very comfortable with any financial model you throw my way.
Okay, wonderful. And then before this position, did you work or were you in school?
So before this, I was working with a drone company. We did construction project management for, generally more government projects like Department of Transportation, also definitely residential and commercial. But that's, a lot of surveying for aggregates. Something that I still do on projects is I almost always have a drone flying, making sure that we have our good cut fill, making sure that contractors are doing what they're expected to be doing, and providing updates to all of those stakeholders. And what I found is using a drone can be a pretty easy way to do that.
Cool.
But although it is another tech role, it's something that we found is that hiring clients in higher dollar projects. My family develops a lot in the Carolinas, and one big project I was working with was this $1.7 billion Bull Street project. So, when you're managing a project that is, not just tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, but into that billion range as well, you really have a lot of stakeholders that want to get good information about how's this project moving along. That kind of information and technology has been very useful. But also, I was the chief real estate officer in that drone company. So although it is a tech role, definitely always been very focused in the real estate construction development markets.
So when we were talking a little bit about this role, it's certainly very different from the role that you have now in your real estate type role. And you were telling me about your passion for construction. Can you tell me, do you remember what you were talking about? Maybe you could reiterate that for me.
So I've done several commercial projects. These are, range from, larger, more complex data center projects to, apartments. Self-storage is one of the easier things that we've done. But, now we've definitely done more residential projects. So a recent one we just did was this awesome model home. We used our construction 3D printer to do this, but I was fully responsible and acted as the general contractor on this project. So we'd come up with an idea and prove that we are able to print a home for 30% more affordably than you could have built a market comp for it. So this was a decent home for the area that we were building in, and basically we were able to ultimately prove, wow, the technology worked. But my main goal there was, okay, how do you get all these subcontractors, negotiate all of these things, keep everybody on schedule, and manage just so many different news organizations that are also coming through to see these projects, because we get a lot of eyes on them. The company does a lot of, building printers. I do a lot of managing construction projects, making sure that these projects, fit within kind of, is it a project we want to take on in the first place? We did a recent build for Habitat for Humanity. Awesome build, great cause, not necessarily luxury, but you still have to be very, you really need to control costs even more closely when it is a build with something like that. Not necessarily a big old, multi-story office building in Dubai where your budgets just kind of have fun.
Sure. Well, and I was noticing, gosh, your awards that you've received, I mean, super impressive. And something else that I wanted to point out too, that was on your resume, intermediate Spanish. So to be able to communicate with some of the crews.
Yeah. It's definitely helpful, especially in Florida. You see a lot of crews that, will speak, definitely Spanish. And if you can't go out and communicate what is on the drawings to a crew that's right now executing or not executing properly, more often than not, somebody is doing something that may not be to code or to plan. And you really need to be able to get people on track and catch things early, because those mistakes compound and they get so expensive. Something wrong with your foundation, you just keep adding on, problems and problems and problems as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be key, is communication, because that's usually where any type of breakdown is going to come in through. All right, wonderful. Well, I am going to go ahead and stop this part of your interview, and we will reconvene.
It's been a pleasure.
One moment. Thank you.